Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you're all doing well. Apologies for being 15 minutes late. That is my bad. As you can see, OK Jerseys are going to be sponsoring the Just Joe Football Show for a little while. Just another one to add to the list, so big up to them. We do have a video. We do have other bits that I need to add to this as well. But I was struggling to get that uploaded in time anyway, but we'll get that sorted moving forward. I will just keep this on for now. If you're going over, scan the QR code, check out okjersey.com, and with code JUST, you'll get 8% off as well. I hope you're all doing well. Just a quick update as well. After this video, I'm going to take some time out. Obviously it's a year since my mum passed. I've got my son's birthday and stuff, so I'm going to go back to Yorkshire for probably a week. And I'm just going to switch off, unplug, no phone, no social media, none of that. I'm just going to actually have some time to myself with my family. So this will probably be the last you'll see of me till I return. I think I need it, if I'm being totally honest, both mentally and physically. So, yeah, what a way to sign off, though, with everyone's favourite Italian. It's, of course, Mr. Andrea Russo. We're talking about Leeds United. Are they in free fall? 4 losses in 5. Can Farke survive the pressure? Because he is under pressure right now. And let's be honest, we're in a bit of a crisis because we look at the next 4 fixtures and we go Villa at home, City away, Chelsea and Liverpool at home. So he's under pressure. And trust me, can he survive them 4 fixtures? Look, Andre, I was looking at it yesterday, right? After them 4 fixtures, the fixtures then turn. We've got Palace, we've got Sunderland, we've got Brentford, and you're thinking, would that be the perfect time to make a change? So it's almost, for me, like the 49ers might be looking at it and saying, he's got these 4 fixtures to save his job. Because then the new manager would have 3 games and then the January window, if indeed they were looking to make a change. But before we get into all that, talk to me. I asked you to send me a picture of how you were feeling right now. As you can see from the thumbnail, it's not a happy face. So tell me where your head's at currently, mate, after that embarrassing defeat at on Sunday.
Well, first and foremost, you flattered me before, so thank you. And do what's good for you. And I think a good week in Yorkshire is always a good choice, especially with your family. And also unplugging from all of this, especially during this crisis. I think all of us are over it mentally, honestly, because it's so terrible. Honestly, it's terrible. Terrible performances. The last 2 of them, Brighton and I mean,
you've even got boxers calling me out on social media, man. You know what I mean? Like Usyk and that. It's a madness. Everyone's losing their heads.
Yeah, it's very overexcited positively when we do well, and really heated when things don't go very well. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think the season has turned. The intensity has dropped. I think there's the crossroad. If we can find a crossroad, is the Burnley game. I think that there was a before the Burnley game and after the Burnley game, because all the games before that game, apart from the Arsenal one, I think we were in the game. The performances were good, but I remember when we talked in that period, and I said we deserve more points, but we need to really be clinical and sort ourselves out, because it's only down to us if we are not getting the points we deserve with those performances. And eventually, if you don't get the points in the Premier League you deserve, those performances will come back to haunt you. And now they are haunting us, because had we had more points, by this period, during this international break, probably there won't be the pressure and the heat around the manager, around the club, around the players, because everyone is at fault. Let's be very clear. Everyone is at fault. The players for the performances, the intensity has massively dropped, massively. Now I'm thinking we overperformed at the start of the season because our intensity was at a better stage compared to the others, but now the others are catching up and they are completely overrunning us in midfield, completely blocking us. And initially, we don't have any pace in midfield to get constantly overrun. And Farke is not helping himself, unfortunately for him. He's not helping himself, the substitution, the timing, team selection. Why do you leave Tanaka off if they're going to play with Anderson, with Dominguez, with Sangaré? Dominguez, Anderson, they can play box to box. They have Gibbs White moving all around. in the final third, coming back to get the ball more deep in his own half, while playing stuck. Tanaka is the only one, if you don't have the pace, who has at least a little bit of pace to try to match the opposition midfielders, But yeah, I think overall he's not helping himself. Even the substitution with Harrison as a left back in the same area as Okafor, the last two games, even with Brighton, there were times where even with West Ham, I think, there were times we were too deep and Aronson was completely lost, engulfed in the game. Then, as we were completely playing on the counter-attack, sub in James. At least he has the pace, like Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson ran all the wing twice in second half. It was our best offensive threat, and that says a lot, I think, currently about our offensive threat. On the other side, you needed 1-2, and we had no one. We were too deep for that reason. So he's not helping himself. And we are at the stage, I think, that you cannot change the players, because I think a lot of the blame goes to Adam Andrews too for assembling the squad the way he was assembled. I always said that, even back in September. I think
even I was saying this yesterday, mate. Even with the signing of Biol, when everyone was going, "Oh my God, this is amazing," you were going, "I'm not so sure. There's a better option at Udinese." And I've said this on a video yesterday. Then people telling us he was the best thing since sliced bread. I said, Andrea told us, I'm not so sure. And if we're being honest now, when we come back against Villa, I want him back on the bench. I want him back on the bench, Andrea.
I agree, mate. And Strauch needed to be subbed in earlier. I think he was subbed in the 82nd minute. If you see it's not working, at least Strauch is faster to move the ball around. Biol always takes a lot of time, like I said in August, but I don't care about being proven wrong. I care about Leeds United winning games, actually. So I'm really on one side, because some things I said, back then are becoming true. I say, okay, probably I know one thing or two about football. But on the other hand, I'm really angry because I say in my head, like, why, if I can see those things by doing some analysis, why couldn't they see that? Why couldn't they see that back then? What we were missing, the type of players we signed, because all of them in a specific system, they are good signings. The problem is that we completely lack certain other traits, even in midfield. Longstaff, one pace. Ampadu, same pace. Stack, same pace. Gruev, even less pace than them. The one with the best pace around in midfield is Tanaka. And he didn't play at Forest. He didn't play at the City Ground. But all of them, maybe Ampadu is the one with the better vision, our real playmaker. But all the other players, Stack, Longstaff, Gruev, Tanaka, all of them are link-up players. There's no one in midfield capable of recovering the ball and running all the length of the pitch, progressing with the ball, cutting to the midfielders, like, for example, Anderson did for them, like Dominguez did for them, like other players, in other clubs we face can do. That is a must in the Premier League, and we don't have one capable midfielder to do that. So if you lose the pace in the midfield, you lose the battle, and 50% of the time you lose the game too. And that's down to Adam Andrews, unfortunately. And even in the threat on the right, we didn't sign Bonanotte, we didn't sign Harry Wilson. Pak Shaw, we came second on Diarra, second on Sadiki, Krstovic, Muniz.
But sorry, I'm laughing, right? Because Dara's just put this in. About to go into a work meeting, but Andrea, I have to tell you something awful about Joe. He ate a chicken tandoori pizza last night. What is that abomination? Andrea knows all about my abomination pizzas. What else do I have, Andrea? Do you remember?
Yeah, the bolognese pizza. I remember, yeah.
The bolognese.
But I know you sing well. At least you made it up singing well, when you tag me on that Insta story, Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah,
Andrea Russo, my favorite Italian.
But he already knows about my mad pizzas, Dad. Don't worry about that.
That's why I love him.
Yeah, man, I did have a chicken tandoori pizza. It was really nice, actually. I can't lie. But you're right, mate. Like, there's so many errors that what's really pissing me off, and I think you're right. You touched on the intensity in that first game. Even the Newcastle home game, the two home games against Everton and Newcastle, we did not get beat to any ball. We did not get beat to any second ball. I saw Ampadu smashing into Dewsbury Hall. I saw Longstaff smashing into every single Newcastle midfielder. Now they're all doing this. Oh,
Yeah.
where are you? And I'm watching midfielders like Gibbs White, who's not been great this season. He is good, but he's not been great. Ghost. Yeah. And we have 6 blue shirts in the box. Man just ghosts in and knocks it in. That's desire, intensity. Now, if they're doing that on a regular basis, that also then falls on the manager. I think the manager is being far too reactionary. There were 2 managers that were at stalemate at the weekend. One said, I'm going to make a triple change to change this game. And Amari Hutchinson got 2 goal involvements. He gets the penalty. He also gets the assist for Gibbs White. Our manager then changes it. We get back on top, but it's too late by then. It's too late by then. Yeah. He also makes crazy decisions in what I don't understand what Jack Harrison was going to give us as opposed to what Goodmanson can't give us. That didn't need to change, Andrea. And then also we fall on the recruitment again. We're having to play Aronson. Listen, I don't care what anyone says. For me, Aronson was better than Okafor at the weekend, but that's by the by. That's just my opinion.
More consistent, yeah. More consistent in the game, yeah.
100%. But I don't sit here and say Aronson should be. The facts are, in 2025, he shouldn't be on the pitch. But he has to be because we've got fucking no one else.
No one else.
Yeah, exactly. This is the point, mate. Like, so the manager's failing, the players are failing, and the recruitment's failing. So, and the only person who'll pay with his job is the manager, right? That's what happens. Before you just come back in on what I've said, Richard, I won't let you have this. And the reason why I won't let you have it is because 2 years ago, you were wrong. Because 2 years ago, you were wrong. Because he got 190 points across 2 seasons. He's got the best win percentage of any manager in the past decade. So 2 years ago, you were wrong. So you can't do that now. Because if I could sit here now and we could employ Klopp and I could say Klopp out. Klopp might get sacked in 5 years and I'll go, I told you this 5 years ago. It don't work like that, bro. It doesn't work like that. So you're not having that. Sorry, Andrea. Go on. Go ahead.
No, I was giving honestly the benefit of the doubt, to Farke because, you need to work with what you have. And unfortunately, what we have, even in terms of if you pick the wrong starting 11, you cannot change it. Even Tanaka, okay, maybe you can say Tanaka has more pace than the other. He would have tried, of course, to match the intensity. We needed James in a specific moment of the game. Aronson didn't need to come on, but I constantly look at our bench and I say, there's no quality. There's no game changers. Like Omari Hutchinson, we don't have an Omari Hutchinson on the bench. We don't even have like the 3rd striker of Nottingham Forest on the bench in terms of quality. Because our 3 strikers are DCL, both on a free, Mecha got on a free, and Pirot. And for Pirot, Aronson, James, Gruev, basically them, even Gnonto. We are at the stage, like you said, in 2025. In 2025, I cannot accept for a newly promoted side, knowing that some players had many ups and downs in the Championship too. But if you look at their past record in the Premier League, some of them were never consistent. Some of them struggled, and you are relying on players to actually overperform. And let's hope they overperform and actually upgrade in this league compared to what they did in the past. Because apart from Gnonto, who was 22, the other players, 25, 26, 27, a player gets his full potential around his 25th birthday, his 25th years of age, So we're relying on players that are already over that age and have proven not to be consistent and efficient and game changers in the Premier League to overperform consistently. Then Okafor, who already this season missed some games because of 2 periods with injury. DCL injury record. It was played not 100%. And even down to fitness and intensity, I think it's even dropping because we're always playing the same players. Why? Because we don't have better players on the bench compared to the one that are playing. And that's another problem, because if the manager doesn't think that the players on the bench can really challenge for the starting spot, the players that we have, so he's forced to play DCL not 100% in terms of fitness. Stack, who was not 100% either. And same as Okafor, returning from an injury. So after West Ham, when he returned after the first half, he needed to go on the bench to be managed, because otherwise he could have risked to get re-injured again. I think he is making some bad decisions in game at times. He's trying to play his football without having the player to play his football, because I think the perfect picture for that is compared to last season, in the championship. Even this narrative that the players don't really trust the system, the player trusts the system, they trusted for 2 years, it worked for them. Some of them even improved, in the last 2 seasons. But the perfect picture is Stack or Longstaff trying to be more attacking minded when they play in higher position, when we are in possession, and then they don't have the pace to track back. How many goals have we conceded from midfielders, from runs from midfield, because we don't track back the opposition runners. Krejci, there's Ugochukwu, there's Chauna, there's also Gomez, the Brace. How many goals have we conceded from runners from midfield, even at Forest, Sangare, untracked, Gibbs White, not followed. Honestly, that's why our midfielders not pace. They are very good with technique, but technique only gets you as far, when you have the ball in possession. If you don't enjoy possession, they get eaten alive by the opposition now because they cannot match. And there's no leader there. Who is our leader on the pitch? There's no one. When we are struggling, that takes his teammates and says, "Come on," and rises them, and rise to the occasion like Gattuso, in that sense.
100%. You touched on it there. Like Ampadu, so Longstaff was emerging as that as well, and he's going to take some criticism as well because he was the one that at Bournemouth, he's getting him in a huddle saying, "You belong here." We saw that amazing performance against Newcastle, but then also he's also throwing up his arms when goals are going in. It's like they're looking to blame everyone. It's not good enough right now, and it needs to change. I'm really disappointed with Stack. Stack was good for 2 games, fall off a cliff. Oh, but he's good at social media. What a character. Couldn't wait to do interviews. It's pathetic. I'm sorry. They need to show up. And this, look, people say being harsh or whatever, but this is what footballers have to take the criticism from us fans, right? Because we're watching us really just roll over. That's what seems to be happening at the minute, is we're rolling over. Whether it's a mentality thing, I'm not too sure, but
it's everything. It's like a mix of everything. And I think realistically, if they don't think, but look what they did with Russell Martin, in Glasgow. If they don't think he's the man, Farke is the man to take this team forward, the team they assembled, they need to make the change during this international break for me. Because it's the final one before March. And after that, we have a negative run of games with very tough opponents. And even Sunderland and Brentford and Villa after that. Sunderland and Brentford particularly, and Palace, sorry, not Villa. They are tough opposition, looking at the way they are playing. So it's a difficult run of 6-7 games now. And if they see negative signs and they think he's not the man to take this team forward, they need to make the change now. But one disclaimer, if Farke goes, Adam Underwood needs to go too with him because he's the one who gave him this squad, And I want an experienced director of football in January to get us the players that we need to stay up, because we're not staying up with this squad. If we stay up with the current squad, it's a monumental achievement like those Greek heroes like Odysseus, like Hercules, It's like that. It's exactly like that.
I do agree. I do believe that the squad is that, because like it wasn't until I listened to Square Ball that Dan Moylan reminded me, like they were saying they had an 8 out of 10 window, patting themselves on the back. What the fuck were they believing in? The funniest thing is as well, when they sent out that deck to all them prospective investors and they were saying, we don't want to do any business in January. What, you still thought that? With the shit you did in the summer, you must be crazy, man. Like, to be honest, they need to really push the envelope out in January, or we'll go down regardless of who the manager is, Andrea, if we're being honest, because you can't make I think the saying is a silk purse out of a soul's ear or whatever. I don't know if even that's the right, but you can't polish a turd. Does that translate? You can't polish a turd. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I get that. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think all the signings were good signings. in terms of type of players. The problem is that, like in midfield, they are good players, but they are too similar. Stark, Longstaff, they are too similar. And they decided to keep Grujev, Pirot.
Do you think the manager wants to play 4-2-3-1, but he doesn't have that 10 that he believes will work? Or do you think he wants to play 4-3-3, but wants to be able to maybe switch with the right winger going into a 10 potentially? Is that what you think? Or it's hard to know.
Yeah, that will give us surely more balance, because you will have a 10 with pace that will give us instantly the transition from defense to attack. The problem is that we don't have that 10 in the squad since Jorginho Rotter left. And Jorginho Rotter left at the end of 2023-2024 season, of the 2023-2024 season, and he hasn't been replaced yet, because Aronson cannot play as a number 10 in the Premier League. And it shouldn't come down to Aronson being the number 10 in the Premier League. It should be like the backup or the third choice, honestly, for a side. I think Sunderland, with the money they spent, like Forest in the past, they showed the way. They know what they need to do, because I remember people saying, yeah, but Sunderland finished fourth, 16 points or 14 points behind Sheffield United in the table. They knew that. They knew that firsthand. They knew they needed to make some signings to make up with the other sides. They made harsh decisions. Like Patrick Roberts. They didn't keep him. He played a lot of games last season for them. There's also other players. Cannot remember them now. I wrote them in a tweet I made. But yeah, you need to make harsh decisions. I think Pirot is not a Premier League striker. I don't think Grujev is a Premier League defensive midfielder because of the intensity. You need it because those players surely had offers, in Germany, in Netherlands, even in the Championship. You needed to make harsh decisions, Then, that said, the manager recently, after Burnley especially, is making some bad decisions in game. But look at the material he has at his disposal. Now something needs to change, and probably he's going to be the one that pays for everything. But the problem is that this squad was set up to fail, because it lacks three key characteristics for the Premier League: the out-and-out winger, the number 10, some pace and intensity and box-to-box players in midfield, because we have all similar players in the middle. At the back, we are stacked, we have players all around, but the problem is that on the left, your backup is Sam Byram, and on the right is James Justin. But if you want to switch to a back three,
why didn't he bring on James Justin on Sunday instead of?
I don't know, honestly. maybe said, like, I'm gonna bring in, like, it's like he brought in Pirot, Mecha, DCL. I'm gonna bring in another offensive player, but the problem is that Arizona needs space in front of him. Like James, they only work when we switch the side with the long ball. Okafor can do that pretty well, and they have the space to run into, that, into that specific area, from out wide. And when they don't have that, they are blocked. You instantly block them. Look at James. When he didn't have the space, he got absolutely blocked by the opposition player down the right, because he entered when they were sitting deep, and he didn't have the space to run. That's the problem, You don't need runners in the Premier League. You need 1v1 players. Harrison, James, they are runners out wide. They're not dribblers. The only dribbler that we have is Okafor. Maybe Gnonto, but again, with Gnonto, the problem is he gonna repeat what he did when he first arrived into the Premier League when he was 18 years of age? And the problem is that he scored 2 goals that season, Eventually, we all talk about Gnonto like he got the Premier League by storm when he first arrived, but
burst onto the scene like Micah Richards.
Yeah. Yeah, but overall, my opinion is that if they have doubts, they need to change now, because something needs to change. You cannot change the players. You cannot bring in new players unless you sign free agents now. So something needs to change. If they think Farke doesn't have the full trust of the board, they need to do the change now, because you don't know who's going to be available unless you may probably pay a fee, a compensation to get another manager. If some good free agent managers, I've seen names like Thiago Motta, Marco Rose. I think that Motta, no chance, but Marco Rose would be very difficult, for example. So yeah, it's now or never. I think this international break will be pivotal for our season, like the March international break was pivotal 2 years ago when we came back and lost at Vicarage Road, you know.
Yeah, it's look, we come back, and the facts are we have only lost once at home, and that was against Spurs. We've won 2, we've drawn 2. We drew against Bournemouth, drew against Newcastle, we beat West Ham, we beat Everton. So they're probably looking at it and saying, right, okay, he's got 3 home games in 4 coming up.
Yeah.
Is there a chance? Do you have any optimism? Even, I know maybe not now, but if you try and like step back, is there any optimism that we can get a decent collection of points, even though we play Villa at home? City away, forget about it. They're flying right now. Haaland will probably score 6. Like, he's an animal, right? But the 3 home games, we got Liverpool, who aren't great right now, it has to be said, and do concede chances. Even against us, they will concede chances because they're open at the back. Chelsea are inconsistent. And then we've got Villa, who are flying right now, but at home, we give anyone a game. We've seen that. Do you have any confidence? Because for me, I'm not in the place yet, Andrea, where I'm like, sack the manager. And the reason I say that is because I like him. I like the manager. I think he's done a good job. I think he's led the club well. And I want him to succeed. But that will quickly change if we come back and we start, you know, because the facts are we could get bad. 3-0 by Villa, then 4-0 by City, and we're going, nah, this is enough now. But do you have any confidence? Because from what Graham Smith was saying on the Square Ball pod, he's not going anywhere yet. They're not even close to making a decision. So do you have any confidence in them runner fixtures?
Yeah, like I said, you know, I'm not saying like Farke in or Farke out. You know, I think the board needs to make that decision. And I said, if they believe he's not the man to take us forward, the change needs to happen now. It's just about timing, you know, because look at the games that we have. And I think if they decide and opt to make the change eventually in the future, they will bring in a more experienced manager in terms of with Premier League experience, like someone that people can make call a dinosaur, you know, like Brendan Rodgers, for example. But I think the only way, I have no confidence right now, honestly, in that round of games, because even if we change the manager right now, I think the squad is not good enough. It's not good enough because even with a new manager, maybe one that plays a different system, we don't have the depth to change it. Even with the back 3, you just have Bourne now on the bench. With the 3 midfielders, look, when Ampadu went down, I was talking to Lucky and we said, if he's injured, we have Tanaka, Longstaff, and Stack, and just Grujev on the bench as a midfielder, you know. Where is the depth? Where is the depth? That's the thing, you know. Aronson is playing as a right winger. He never played there last season. He played as a number 10. So we're playing with our old number 10 in the championship on the right because James had injured and we didn't have the depth. Nyonto was injured. So, yeah, honestly, I have no confidence, and I explain you why. Because I think it's a structural issue. Even with a new manager, the problems, the issues in midfield and on the wing remain. And we've seen them becoming even more and more visible game after game. The exact same issues that I pointed out in August and in September, you know, because in the Premier League, if you don't have the intensity, you get overrun in midfield. Usually 9 out of 10, you lose the game. The only way to sort this out, probably a possible solution is playing more defensively, because we realize we don't have the intensity to match them, and just play on the counter, you know, like we tried to do at Brighton, and we were forced to do at Forest, you know. We tried to play it out from the back, but I remember one specific moment of the game when the ball was to Perry, and there were Ampadu and Longstaff going towards the ball, and they were basically man-marked by Dominguez and Gibbs-White. So that's why I don't have the confidence, because every team has figured out how to stop us, you know. Just put the pressure on our midfielders. So you force us to play the ball to Biol, to Rodon, and then double pressure Bogle and Gudmundsson. And what do we do then? Pass the ball back to Biol, pass the ball back to Rodon, long ball to DCL, who loses 8 out of 10 duels, you know. Mecha is more physical and more rolled up than him. So you see, that's our shape. The main issue, even with a new manager, the issue remains, you know. And that's the problem. The only confidence I will give back, honestly, is if we really invest in January. to fix those issues, because you rent a place, maybe you rent a place, you rent a loft, a flat. That flat has leaks, water coming down. Now the person living in that flat says, I'm moving out, so you can find a new person to rent your flat to. But the problems remain even with the new person living there, if the constructor and the landlord, I don't know how you call him, doesn't fix the problems of the flat.
You need to be
leaks.
Sure that I'm moving into the property knowing how to fix leaks and stuff, right? This is the thing. So it's whether or not my only concern is whether or not the 49ers would have the right plan, because the landlord would say, I'm going to give it to a guy who can fix leaks so he can do that, and then I don't have to worry about it. Do the 49ers, because what worries me, mate, is how they dealt with the Rangers situation. Because they wanted Gerrard in the summer, they didn't get him. They wanted him when they sacked Martin, they didn't get him. They wanted Muscat, they didn't get him. They couldn't convince him. They ended up going for Danny Rowe. I don't think Danny Rowe's a bad appointment, but my point is they didn't get their first option. Just like in the transfer window, people are saying in the comments, oh, he got everyone he wanted. No, he didn't. Let's not forget he wanted Diarra. Let's not forget he wanted Siddiqui. And look at what they've been doing at Sunderland. So, yes, I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm happy with the signings that we made. We still didn't do enough. Now I look at, someone said earlier, is Bornau better than Biol? Does Bornau even exist? He's like a unicorn at this point. Where the fuck's he? You know what I mean? So there are so many issues, Andrea. Look, we knew it's not going to be easy. We knew it's not going to be easy. And I agree, the manager's also not helping himself, because like Remy put here, about playing direct and getting people in and around the striker. I know a lot of people have seen the graph, but have you seen the graph about how slow our build-up is and how direct it is?
Yeah, I've seen that. And that's also the reason, the intensity, because we don't have fast players that can, even when they are fast, tell me one of our midfielders that can maybe stop the ball and turn around and run into spaces without passing the ball. There's no one of them. That's the problem, So that's why I said if Farke goes, Adam Underwood needs to go too, because it's the complete admitting we failed with the technical project in the summer, because Underwood brought in players that only work with 4-3-3, because if you try to work with
sorry, I'm trying to say.
you're trying to change the formations, in a certain sense. Even when you play, even if you switch with the three at the back, 3-5-2, 3-4-2-1, where's the depth? Again, 4-4-2 might be another solution, but you play maybe with Nyont on the right and Okafor on the left, and then the problem is, again, do you play with DCL and Mecha? You play with Harrison on the left. Where's the quality? Again, Okafor as a second striker and DCL and Mecha as the target forward, But the problem is that you don't have the tools to change that, honestly. So even Underwood, we're talking about Underwood. In the summer, look at our transfer window was handled, we chased Muniz for how much? For a lot. It turned out like the Cateller saga, the CDK saga, 2.0. Then lost on Diarra and Sadiki. And I remember someone putting on pieces, saying that Leeds were never in for Sadiki, but then the agent of Sadiki said that Leeds were in for Sadiki. So who do I believe? I believe the agent of Sadiki. Same as Krstovic, Matteo Moretto, who, by the way, is not a standard Italian, but he's the right-hand man of Fabrizio Romano. So you choose who to believe, said that Leeds had an agreement with Lecce for Krstovic, but he decided to wait for a big Italian club. So again, we wasted time there. I believe what Moretto says, honestly, and he went to Atalanta. So the backup from Muniz, Krstovic. Now look at his record this season. 12 games, I think 13 games, 2 goals, just a brace against Torino. The Atalanta fans are absolutely criticizing him. On the other hand, Demirovic, for example, just to name one of the others that we talked about, now he's injured. He played 6 games this season before he got injured. 3 goals in 6 games, basically. So, and even the others, Diarra, Sadiki, even Pike Shaw, Buonanotte. I think the Buonanotte one and the Harry Wilson one, because it's the same situation, Buonanotte and Harry Wilson, it's even worse than the botch with Bamba Dieng for me. If Radrizzani was still here, we'll be talking about it for we had been talking about it for weeks, honestly, because eventually we decided to let Ramazani go out on loan. I'm not saying Ramazani probably would have contributed. I don't know. That's not certain because he had never played in the Premier League before, but at least you would have had depth on the right,
They
Because
did that thinking they'd got Buonanotte over the line,
exactly,
right?
man, exactly. Then Buonanotte fell apart because Chelsea.
And we should have learned from
arrived.
the Dan James saga. We should have learned from the Bamba Dieng saga. Let's not pretend the 49ers weren't around when all this happened. We never learned our lesson. And there will be a case of if they don't make a decision right at the right time, then they won't have learned their lessons again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's maybe now isn't the right time. And, and listen, I'm not saying sack him, but yeah, I don't know. I just hope that my thing is as well, though, right? Do they look at it and go, what pissed me off? We had Parag on the Everton, couldn't wait to get in front of the Sky cameras. Yeah, all the business gets done late in the window. We're going to sign some more players. We end up signing no one, yeah?
No one, yeah.
Are they looking at it and going, we let him down, so we're going to give him till January and then we're going to back him? Maybe, maybe, I don't know.
But it's too late for me in January,
by then,
honestly, because you rely on Farke to overperform with an incomplete squad in the first part of the season when all the teams around you are making business around strengthening. Look at the offensive options that Burnley has. Probably in terms of quality, some of them are worse than ours. But at least they have players. Even Tresor is not playing. But they have Tresor on the squad. They'll have Amdouni when he returns from injury. So they'll have like Broya, Fleming, Foster, and then Amdouni. They have 4 strikers. We have Mecha, DCL, and Pirot, basically. So yeah, and people said to me, why don't include in the squad Harry Gray? And even us talking about that shows that because he's a different player with in terms of type of striker compared to DCL and Mecha, it shows that people realize that we have 2 very similar profiles, DCL and Mecha. Pirot, who has no intensity, and we completely lack in the squad. You completely miss number 9, capable of having pace to run in behind, having pace to be more versatile. And that's why people are mentioning Harry Gray now. But it shouldn't come down to Harry Gray because he needs time to develop still, and he's not ready for the Premier League. But now people realize, where's that 9? When I said we need another 9, I remember people saying to me, yeah, but the 9, it's even useful. Yeah, it is useful in the build-up. And now you see many teams have wingers that can provide the GA the 9 is not providing for. But the problem is that if the 9 is not scoring goals, and the main job for a 9 is scoring goals, actually, he is scoring goals, not being like a defensive midfielder, moving the ball around and contributing in the build-up. That works if he doesn't score consistently. When you have wingers who have the ability and are top wingers for the Premier League, the problem is that we have Okafor, James, Aronson, Harrison, and then Gnonto coming back. So you're relying on players to overperform and hoping they really adapt to the Premier League, something they didn't do in the past. And relying on Okafor was injury prone, unfortunately, to actually adapt to a position he barely played in Italy when he was here, because they played a different system. And the season before he signed for AC Milan, he plays as a second striker or slash falso 9, false 9 at beside too. So honestly, very, very disappointed, man. Very disappointed.
Issues are plenty in the mate. Issues all around. There is. I know Andrea's got to shoot off soon. People, he's a busy guy. He's on TV these days in Italy. This is what he does. Before he does, though, let's bring up this Abdullah Al Fuzon. I hope you're well, Abdullah. He says, finally catching a live stream was never Farke out, and I'm still not. I'm sentimental and love my favourite players and managers like you, Joe. Definitely sentimental, bro. But when I was watching the Forest game, we had zero identity, and that has to change ASAP. That's something also Danny, the coach of the Yorkshire Roses, sent me. And do you know what? He's got a fucking good point. I'm going to bring up what he said, and you can give me your thoughts on it. Yeah, the gaffer. Yeah, exactly. The gaffer. Let me just find his WhatsApp that he sent me now.
Maybe if they need time for, if they decide to change and they need time for picking a new manager, he can.
Yeah, they bring in you two as a coaching team. But he said,
the new Redfern.
Yeah, he did say, do we sit back and try absorbing pressure, then hit teams? Do we press teams? Do we look to dominate the ball? We are just a mishmash of all these styles.
I agree.
Yeah, and when we're under pressure, we just fold. And it's similar to what Abdullah's saying here, is that there isn't no distinct style. For a period of games, we were direct. Now we're not direct. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. There was a stat saying as well. This was right towards the start of the season. I think Newcastle game, it'll have been Everton game. There was a stat that said all new promoted teams were so direct. But now we're the slowest build up, we're the most patient build up, and it's like it's not working, right? It's not working. And we know Calvert-Lewin's good at fucking holding that ball up. So get the ball up to him, man. And you know, you haven't got the players that you like, so you're just gonna have to and fucking go against your principles, you know?
Yeah, I think Mecha is better when it comes to holding up compared to Calvert-Lewin, because I think Calvert-Lewin is better when he stays near the box.
I think
Mecha or DCL?
Mecha, I thought it bounced off him.
Yeah, but I think looking at the way he's built, you know, with this physical type of game, I think he's better with the older play compared to DCL, because DCL loses a lot of aerial duels too, while Mecha goes for the aerial duel to stop the ball with his chest, you know, a lot of the time. But the problem is that we are relying on a striker to hold the ball up in order to keep the ball in the opposition half, you know, and now we are forced to be more deep, more defensive minded in the games when the pressure comes to us. And the other problem is that, do we have the wingers who can run all the length of the pitch, or a midfielder that can, or a striker when we recover the ball, that can really give us the smooth transition, the instant from off defense to offense if we recover the ball to another half? I don't think we have the runners again to completely switch and play like 2 against 2, 3 against 2, you know, when we recover the ball, to like, remember when we recovered the ball on the Bielsa, you know, all the players were storming like on going towards the other part, the opposition half, you know. Now we cannot do that because we don't have the players to do that. Okafor has a good pace, but he's never 100%, unfortunately, with the fitness. James is one, yeah, but in that he works only in that very specific situation. And yeah, I think it's a mess, man, honestly. I think it's a mess. And it cannot be fixed. Even if you change the manager, you still have to wait January to fix it. Honestly, I don't think it can be fixed during the first part of the season. Unfortunately, it's structural. It's a structural issue. That's why I'm pointing the finger also at the director of football.
100%. Like, he could go for me as well. Like you said, if Farke goes, he goes, and we get someone in. Do you know, I saw something amazing yesterday. Let me just get it up. Sorry, I know you need to go, mate. I'm just going to quickly show you this. There's 2 things, actually, I wanted to mention quickly. But this is from Return on Investment Sporting Directors. I don't know if you saw this, that Ben Jacobs put up.
I haven't yet, yeah.
I'll share it now so you can have a look. And, like, this is what we need, right? Because this is a global return on investment. And you can see here, like, look at Brentford there, for example. Number of transfers, 20, 114 invested. Net value add, 300 million. You know what I mean? Obviously, City invested 875, but it's showing you by the top 10 sporting directors ranked by net value added. And then on the other side, you've got return on investment. So how much they're putting in and how much they're selling. But it's crazy to think, or what I would give, for one of these sporting directors. Do you know what I mean? You've got Dougie Friedman at Palace. It's, you know, there's a few there at Atalanta. Is it Tony D'Amico?
Tony D'Amico, yeah.
So This is what we need, mate. Not some young upstart like Adam Underwood. Do you know what I mean? These are the facts.
Yeah, nothing against him personally, but
No,
I think we needed an experienced one. Like Sunderland went and picked Gisolfi, who was at Roma and before Roma at Lens and at Nice before. So yeah, even Bologna, you know, they had not Di Vaio but Sartori. He came here in Reggio to see a lot of Serie B games. You know, he actually goes to other grounds to scout players. I've seen him a lot, you know, recently here, and he was at Atalanta before. So you see, Atalanta picked D'Amico from Verona because he did well at Verona, but they picked one that already knew Serie A. We picked like Adam Underwood. We went for the internal solution inside the club. I think also because they liked to work with a person grown at the club, so that they could have like a shared table, shared round table for the key decisions, you know.
But
Like
even there,
many
like look
people
at
working
Forest.
together, you know.
Forest see Ross Wilson doing well at Rangers. They say, right, okay, we're going to take him. Do you know what I mean?
And now they have Edu too. Edu Gaspar too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas we're still in a position, bro, where we're like employing from within. Do you know what I mean? And
Exactly.
I just jobs for the boys kind of vibe. And I don't think it's the right way to go. But Andrea, I know you need to shoot, mate. You've got your thank you for giving up your time. Enjoy your
don't
TV
worry. It's always a
appearance.
pleasure, man.
Yeah, man, I love having you on. I love catching up.
Like the Oasis says, because we need each other. We need one another.
Legend, my guy.
Always a pleasure, man.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
Have a good day and a good break.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Back in God's own land, you know, Yorkshire.
Yeah, man, Yorkshire. Good man.
Yeah.
I'll
and
let
bye
you go
everyone
on,
too. Bye everyone too. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
No worries. There we go. There's Andrea, the GOAT. That is Andrea Russo. Let me just mess around with my new camera setup and stuff. There's a couple of super chats I wanted to bring in. Let me just get rid of this. I need to put that there and make me smaller over here, and then click this. Oh, we're learning. We're flying. There we go. That's what we'll do. Custom layout number 1 when I'm on my own. And there we go. So, there. Oh, I've not put me on that one, though. We want number 1. Where's it gone? There we go. Right, perfect. I'm locked in and loaded now. Hopefully that looks aesthetically okay for you. Abdul Al-Fuzon did bring in another comment. He said, just remember when we were fast at Elland Road under Farke, it was so good and fluid. But in away games, we keep the ball with zero purpose and threat. And he's bang on the money. You know, listen, when we were 1-1, I'm all about results, man. I like the manager. So I'd probably give him more rope than others do, right? I know this because everyone has their favourites. You know, when people say the manager has his favourites, we have our favourites as well, right? If it's Jesse Marsh, I'm going, get him gone. You know, yeah. To give you an example, when we played Brentford and they had 9 men, I'm going, they've got 9 men. If that's Farke or Bielsa, I'm probably saying sometimes it's harder to play against less men, right? Agenda's agenda. We all have agendas. I like the manager. So 1-1, I'm thinking, well, listen, if we come away with 1-0, fine. But then when it capitulates and it's 3-1, it's like, it's not good. And you're right. In the first half, we had 1 shot, goal. They had 10. Most shots they've had. It's not great, is it? Thankfully, my money is invested better, especially how the market has performed this year. In what respect? What we're saying? Love to Andrea, yeah, top guy. We love him. Just can't shake the feeling. Farke's he has me, mate. Ryan, I can't get away from that fact. Of course he has. yeah, Harry Wilson, different. Big up to Billy Temp, yeah, man, good man. Before he went to Wolves, do you think Nuno could have improved results and not argue with the recruitment team? What do you mean? Do you mean before he went to West Ham? And I don't know what you mean, bro. I don't know what you mean by that. We play about too long at the back, which makes our attackers go deep. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a mishmash in it at the minute. It's all over the shop. Will it improve? I'm not too sure. But I tell you one thing that could help it improve. If we were to make a change, And if this manager became available, I would advocate making his change almost immediately. It's the fact that currently, and I'm going to change my graphic for this. I'm going to have to get used to this. Currently is the fact that this manager, who was wanted by Nottingham Forest not too long ago, may now be about to leave his post. That manager is Marco Silva. Okay? So understand Fulham are weighing up the future of Marco Silva. Tensions are mounting with Fulham only a point above the relegation zone. Now, I tweeted about this and people go, he's got a better squad and he's only a point. There are, again, you have to apply context. The context is this, folks. He's not happy. He was not happy with the transfer window. He's already, he's a type of character that if other jobs are available, he might turn it in. And you might go, well, that's not for me right now, kind of. He's a good manager at this level and has shown that with Fulham. There are some criticisms I have. He likes older, experienced players. If you look at his squad, they're all at the opposite end of the scale. And, you know, that can always, if he leaves Fulham, what kind of squad have they got? They've got an old aging squad is what they've got. But he's able to keep Fulham in the Premier League on a regular basis. He was one of the last managers to survive, obviously. He's been at Everton. He's been at Watford before that. He's a free agent in the summer. He's obviously fallen out with the Khans that own Fulham due to the transfer window. He was not happy during that time. And because he's not going to sign a new deal, or he has a reluctance currently, then they're on about taking him. Again, it says here, tensions mounting at Fulham. Understand the hierarchy of frustrated Silva's reluctance to sign a new deal and concerned regarding results. Cottagers, 1 point off bottom three. Cottagers, isn't that a thingy? Silva not happy with summer recruitment. Again, that is the context that has to be applied. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with summer recruitment. So there's tensions there. This isn't him being a bad manager. A lot of people have said, why do you want him when he's got a better squad? Again, you have to apply context to every situation. And the context is he wasn't happy with the window, right? This is facts. He wasn't happy with the window. He's not signed a new deal. A lot of managers are like this. Bielsa was like that. Your man at Bournemouth is like that. Adoni Iraola doesn't sign long terms. It's rolling contracts, etc. If he comes available and you can convince him, do it. Because he is a top manager. He's a top manager. And he keeps Leeds United up. Now with Farke, I hope he keeps Leeds United up. But I would say Marco Silva, I would say with chess, keeps Leeds United in the division. So that's where you think, right, okay, well, if there is an opportunity like that, then you can't turn it down. You can't turn it down. You know? But, mate, my man's got Raul Jimenez and has got Rodrigo Muniz. It's not too dissimilar to what we've got, bro, if we're being totally honest. It's not. He's had Dan James before. Oh, God. You can tell that cold's kicking me. Did that just... Oh, God, that is disgusting. Oh, don't go back and view that. That would be horrible. I just have to... Hang on. Hang on. I just have to check this. I'm hoping it was off screen because I felt something come out. I've got, well, like, as you can tell. Oh, good. It was off screen. If you're saying with chest that Marco Silva will keep us up, but Farke might bit, then the squad debate doesn't add up. No, that's not true though, Mr. Kennedy. I know you I saw your comment about Liam Rosenior, and I will address that as well, mate. That doesn't add up, does it? Because some managers get more out of squads. Do you think any other manager, bar Marcelo Bielsa, would have got that ragtag group of players to win the championship and get promoted and finish 9th? No, let's not be illogical. I get, so on your Liam Rosenior thing that you mentioned earlier as well, where you said, Joe says Liam Rosenior failed, but forgets to mention that Farke failed while having Rutter, Somerville and Gray. Well, I think your interpretation of failure is different to mine. And the reason I'll say this is because Rosenior didn't get Hull in the top 6. I don't think they won a home game for a long time either. They were a better away than they were at home. They couldn't win at home. I remember doing the Yorkshire rivals. So, difference, he couldn't get them top 6. Our manager got 90 points and got to playoff final and lost 1-0. Difference, mate. Difference. But if you want to keep peddling the narrative that Liam Rosenior will keep this team in the league, then that's fine. But I disagree. I disagree. As for manager, that's not true, is it? Because some managers are better than others. And therefore, I would say with chess, Marco Silva is better than Farke. There. Oh, and Rich says it was Andrea that said it doesn't matter what manager. Right, okay, there you go then. If that's what he's relating to, but I think, of course, managers can look. At the end of the day, yeah, Mr. Kennedy, that is a fair point, and I'm glad you've taken it like that because some people will take it. It's never personal; it is a debate, and you know, sometimes we fall out over football debates. I've had someone get back in contact with me recently who I thought wasn't my friend over football. I've had friends fall out with me over football. I've had contacts with other contact creators who go, just so you know, this isn't personal. And I've said, yeah, don't worry about it. It's YouTube. You know, I had that conversation just yesterday. That was with Joe, me and Joe. So yeah, like it is what it is. Sean says we sat Farke after the City, Chelsea, Liverpool games. I think we'll be relegated because nobody decent will want the Leeds. Do you think we should or if we do? You should or if we do? Sorry, Sean. Just some clarity. Because I think that would be a perfect time if you were to sack him. Can tell. Has everyone got this cold, man? Because it's kicking the ass out of everybody. I went to a meeting yesterday. No, it wasn't Remy. That's why I said Joe. That's why I said Joe, because I didn't want you thinking it was building any bridges there. Big up to Darren. Not good at more. We need a manager with passion, fight. Look at Arteta on touch. Some people criticise Arteta for that. It's different strokes for different folks, isn't it? Get Mancini and bring Batty in as number 2. Do you remember that? The snap. That's why Batty's a goat. That's why Batty's a goat. Yeah, this cold is brutal, man. This cold is brutal. Yeah, Adam. Yeah, we do need to stop playing this slow turn. I hear it, bro. I hear it. I'm there with you, man. You know, I hear it. So... But yeah, listen, quick service announcement while I've got so many here as well. I'm going to take some time out now. So there's not going to be anything on the channel. Oh, sorry, Helen, you did. Yeah, my bad. Let me bring this up. Helen sent us a membership message. She said, thank you for your words of support the last few days. Thank you. Thank you. I am, I'm going to take some days off, and not actually because I'm in a bad place because I've been doing whatever. I'm actually going to take some time off. I'm going back to Yorkshire to be with my friends, going out for food. Yeah, get to a sauna, might even do that. So I'm going to do that. It's my son's birthday on Saturday. And then my mum passed. We're going to Blackpool with my bros and with my daughters and that on Sunday. Might drop in on Joby, yeah. yeah, so I'm going to do that as well. Because my mum loved Blackpool, so we're just going to go there. And she loved the fortune teller, folks. So I'm thinking I'm going to go see one on Sunday and see. Because sometimes them things are mad. I'm going to go Sunday, go see one of the Gypsy Rose Lee women or whatever they're called. You know, maybe something will come from the other side. But yeah, I'm going to just enjoy the break, man. And actually, like, unplug and forget about this for a bit. I haven't been on the sunbed, Sean. I haven't been for weeks. I'm actually going to get some nasal tanners today because I feel white as a ghost, bro. Do you know what as well, right? I've grew my hair the longest because I've been shit. I've been feeling shit, as you know, and looking shit and all this. My hairs grew, and I've not let it grow this long for a long, long time. And I've realized, wow, you should see hairline now, man. You should see hairline. Look at that, man. It's like half. So my hair now actually starts from where my beard is. It goes over. You know what I mean? It's bad, man. I have no hair there. I don't know if I'm balding round here, but I have no hair. I look brutal, man. I was watching Big Six, man. They said Toby looked like Danny Glover. I was dying. I was like, I'm the white Danny Glover. But yeah, it's brutal. So I'm gonna go. I've got therapy at 2, so I'm gonna have a shower now, just because. Yeah, hatch roof defo caved in. It's brutal, isn't it? It is brutal. So I'm gonna go to my therapy and then hairlines in Latvia, man. Gypsy Rose Lee is the last who was what's that? Gypsy Rose Lee is the last that mum, she killed a mum in it from Munchausen syndrome. I remember. Do you know what though, Matt? Just on this, I've never, you know, since I went full time, I've never properly unplugged. If I've ever unplugged, it's because even if I've gone on holiday, I've done a video or something. If I've unplugged, it's because I've had shit going on. I'm actually looking forward to unplugging, like properly, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, if I'm honest. And then when you're saying what will we do without the live chats, when I come back, which will probably be Monday, we're then locked in, aren't we? Because then we've got no international breaks till March, January window, bang, 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 bang. Yeah, exactly off our grid, Quinter. You know the drill, bro. Oh, well, Gypsy Rose Lee is also the lassie that killed her mum over the Munchausen. I think she's out now. Poor lass, man. Not a man, her. But yeah, no stress, man. Listen, it's good to touch grass. Exactly. I'm going to go have a shower now. I'm going to go therapy, get my nasal tanners, do my hair, go watch my daughter football train, then go home, bed, and then Halifax tomorrow. Get up. Yeah, I'm going to switch my phone off. I am. I'm going for a meal with my mates, man, on Thursday. I can't wait. Like, round table vibe. So, yeah. Anyway, you're all legends. Thanks for being here over the last few weeks. And thanks for always being there, because you're legends. We've got an awesome community. And I love each and every one of you. Even though we don't always get on, you all mean a lot. And, yeah, listen. See you on the other side, man. See you on the other side. Peace out now. Love.